This is for no good reason and hashtag professionalism. I am late with this one, and a friendly reminder, these analysts/reviewers were voted in the comments section of Analysis Daily. There will be a link to that video in the description. Due to the lack of diversity in the votes, we will only be covering the top 4 analysts or reviewers. Some of you may be deeply confused, what is this doing on my main channel, as opposed to Analysis Daily. I couldn't help but notice the views for the anime content seem to slow the traffic on that channel, which regretfully is decidedly not anime. And I'm prepared to respect that. However, I feel anime analysis and review is something that very much deserves recognition. So it's going here. I had a lot of fun making this, and it would mean a lot if you could give it and these content creators a look. Thank you. Number 4, Goat Jesus and Tommy Oliver. Goat Jesus has been with the YouTube community since 2012 and created content presumably as far back as 2013, with an abundant interest and appreciation for Evangelion, which he still occasionally shares his thoughts on. There is, of course, his overall talent as a VA.
Did you kids get lost? Why don't you have your daddy or your mommy around?
We are not lost. We are simply on a magical adventure.
Oh no, my radio!
And the much wiser willingness to pursue his hopes and dreams outside of his normal anime habitat, to share the fruits of his labors as a film student. Goat's overall quality and diversity make him a credit for any fandom, and I'm proud to not only be subbed to Goat Jesus, but had the occasion to talk with him. He's bright, young, and I have little doubt the sky will be the limit for whatever he ultimately decides to invest the full of his interests.
I was the biggest Digimon fan back in the day. I was at the ripe old age of 11 when Digimon first appeared in the States.
I always find it refreshing when a content creator makes it easy to empathize with where they're coming from as a fan. And while Tom isn't a full-time anime dork, and I say this with love, I found it easier here than in the past to put myself in Tommy Oliver's shoes for this piece. Much like the ability of the content creator to grow and ironically enough evolve while talking about Digimon of all things.
Looked really cool. The art style was striking, the characters and monsters were all really colorful. Visually, I immediately thought it looked even cooler than Pokemon. It certainly had a lot more detail. Then the title of the show popped up. I flipped my shit. The little V-Pets that I unleashed on my school as a poor man's Pokemon was getting their own show?
The walk down memory lane is something that we all identify with, even if it's not as strong as the content creator's connection. It is very necessary when you're about to deconstruct something, so to remind people of your connections, so that they may remain patient with you. Tom isn't some stereotypical film snob, he's a fan, he cares very deeply about the medium, and the message is, you should at least consider his opinions based on that care and appreciation.
Everyone I knew, even back then, was convinced that if it could ever happen, they could kick Ash's butt in a Pokemon battle. Digimon, on the other hand, was a fucking adventure. It was one of, if not the, first show I started watching with a single continuous storyline, each episode picking up right where the last left off.
The compassion, the comparison and contrast between Digimon and Pokemon, highlighting Digimon's strengths is something very endearing. A clear and valid example on what we, or rather the narrator, finds works, and highlighting all the subtle nuances.
Examined strong themes like friendship, trust, love, loyalty, and even things like betrayal and facing your own mortality.
This can't be stressed enough, some cackling hyenas ribbing Tom for discussing the narrative, who can't be bothered to learn powerful messages about friendship, trust, love, loyalty. So when I hear the words from a random reviewer, what do I look like, Tommy Oliver? Well, no you don't. You'd have something to say. Mr. Oliver's Trisec review is inspiring. It's entertaining, it's endearing, heartfelt, sincere. Not only do I recommend that you give this a look, that you show your love and support to continue a look at all of his works. I could have really gushed on, but I think the work really does sell itself.
Are you bored? Is your life a grey, lifeless exercise in monotony? Are you that one kid in class that no one knows how to approach and has given up on trying to make a connection with? Have your youthful eccentricities led to you being branded a total anomaly in your social hierarchy? If only they knew how interesting and likable you are after the first 20 minutes. Hours. Don't you want them all to know how important you really are? Well, before you do anything too hasty, there's one more option. Anime. It's sure to add some color to your life, so to speak.
SubSonic Sparkle. I say this with the utmost respect. I felt I was watching a commercial at the start of this video, only to be bothered to ask the question, why doesn't anime run ads like this? Sophistication, professionalism, continual improvement.
Anime is that even when the series is launching headfirst into the world of parody and satire, it never feels hokey or cheap in doing so, which is in part due to Kyoto Animation's incredible attention to detail, as well as the writer's expert understanding of the material they're working with. When the show does a mystery, it's legitimately engaging and well constructed. When the show does a space opera, it successfully captures that epic retro vibe that made the classics classic. And when the show does a beach episode, you better believe it's the hottest thing this side of High School of the Dead.
Good
He's saying all the right things!
Every trope Haruhi throws itself at, it does so with an uncanny level of prowess and devotion, and that's not an easy thing to achieve. The writers know how to present such storied and cliched scenarios as interesting because they understand what made those types of stories work in the first place.
And it's not just all stuffy nonsense. SubSonic Sparkle genuinely is funny in a witty sort of way. And I don't mean in a drop your pants cheap thrills Doug Walker manner, I mean in an actual substance. The sort of wit the more you think about it, the more you find yourself smiling. Maybe even perhaps in spite of yourself. A great entertainer and a self-promoter who puts in more than a healthy splash of thought and effort, and is a welcomed addition not just to an anime fan subscriber box, but to anyone who loves to be entertained with deeper thought. You'll never hear me embarrassed to say I just saw a new SubSonic Sparkle. Certainly not for anything that he's done in his work.
There's a lot of great manga out there which are rightfully celebrated for featuring highly detailed illustrative artwork, which can show off incredible technical ability and potentially bring the world of the story to life and make it feel fleshed out and realistic. However, I think that it can be taken for granted by a lot of readers that more detailed illustrations are automatically better, when this isn't necessarily always the case.
Number 2, Digi Bro. It's a true credit to Digi Bro that I can look at his work not just to find the same old formula that, mind you, would have been more than enough to rant and rave about, but the first couple of words draw you into an appreciation of the medium of manga that instantly sets you up to question that medium after reminding you how you might love it. Yet another thinking man's channel where Digi's narrative is easily the best magical roller coaster ride you could find on YouTube.
Impacted by the beauty of its own art was the little-known 5-volume series Stray Little Devil. Without a doubt, every panel of this manga is impressive to look at. The characters are adorable, and their world is one of epic fantasy, with no shortage of sweeping, memorable vistas and huge, action-heavy art showcases. The only problem here is that for the most part, Stray Little Devil is a quick and breezy cute girls comedy series.
There's certainly a profound appreciation for the topic, but with that appreciation comes with a strong, stern set of expectations that comes with a vast love and craft for anime. It's a shame Digi wasn't able to find his comfortable medium in previous works, but I assure you, if you had the wherewithal to follow Digi down the rabbit hole that is anime, his best work is still yet to come. It's always been one of the biggest laments that Digi I was able to mingle with wasn't always the most chipper on pub crawl.
You know what my favorite thing is about Brunhilde in the Darkness? This makes me laugh every time I even think about it.
Yeah?
Is that one of the characters is a girl who is fully paralyzed, and they still portray her as like a hot girl love interest character.
They do it in the magical doll type love interest.
That shit kills me. She literally cannot move at all. People have to feed her, like, and upkeep her. There's a part, because there's this website called Fap Service that collects all of the fan service scenes from a show into like video compilations. Very good way to watch all the fan service from a dumb fan service show without having to watch a dumb fan service show. I'm very glad it exists. But they have one from Brunhilde in the Darkness, and there's a part where they're like at the hot spring and all the girls are naked, and there's like the one girl's like washing the fucking paralyzed girl. Like, she's in the fan service scene. She's naked with everyone else. And I'm just like, this show wants me to have like, maybe okay, I don't know how to argue this. Is it worse of me to think that it's silly to want to fuck them? Like, would the paralyzed girl be upset that I don't want to fuck her?
Even still, I do love having the chance to meet and learn from content creators and learn about the real them instead of making up some crazy headcanon based off some fantasy online persona. A good teacher is able to make something understandable. A great teacher is able to make something you might not find otherwise interesting seem fascinating. I'm literally listening to a man break down comic panels.
Each image has to be tightly constructed around delivering just the right amount of information so that the end of the joke will have the most impact. A massively detailed image is much harder to control because it is most likely going to give the reader pause to take everything in. When a hyper-detailed illustration appears in an action or adventure series, it's usually meant for the reader to linger there for a while, and as such, it is usually meant to instill some kind of complex or grandiose emotion in the reader. Stray Little Devil packs so much detail into every little panel that it ends up grinding to a halt much of the time, and the cadence of the humor completely falls apart.
It's far more interesting than some dullard drone on about his quack remedies for self-improvement on a vain effort to get himself over. I can't strongly recommend Digi Bro enough. He's easily in my top 2 YouTubers and has an abundant wealth of content and quality second to none in diversity. I'd probably like him more if I wasn't such a dullard. Number 1, not a poker chip aka Napsy. Well, this certainly isn't the craziest thing I've ever seen win number 1. Napsy is a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed anime fan who got on a pub crawl right after the same time Digi Bro left it.
It's only like 20-30 proof, so.
Hey, we're not asking Asher what he's drinking because if he was drinking alcohol, he's a minor and we'd all get in trouble. So
I'm just drinking milk.
Yeah.
I love that that's the second time you've been literally drinking milk. Like it's the classic joke about walking into a bar and asking for milk.
I assure you this is strictly a coincidence. Napsy isn't just a member of the Cantaloupe Club, he's the president. Napsy proves a little bit of hard work and desire to grow and evolve. In as little as 2 videos, you can help contribute to the discussion, and contributing to the fandom's growth is a virtue I think we can all get behind.
I call it that because she never actually names her club. She has an awful lot to say about her club, but is always super vague with the details. This is red flag number 3.
And after seeing Napsy's first 2 videos, I have little doubt the only place he can possibly go is up. So Napsy, if you're watching this, welcome to the Anime Club. We'll leave out an extra cup of Kool-Aid for you. And if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you hated this video, give it a dislike. If you want to see more like this, leave a comment and give me some feedback. And we'll all see you soon.